Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this meeting of the Budget and Finance Committee for Monday, June 18th, 2018. I'm Paul Krikorian, joined by my colleagues, Mr. Kretz and Mr. Blumenfield, and we're ready to begin. I'd like to first take up general public comment. And Mr. Previn, are you here on more than one item? You are here on more than one item, right? Okay. So why don't we go ahead and take up general public comment first with Mr. Previn and our multiple item speakers. I think Mr. Previn is the only one. So come on up, Mr. Previn, for your 2 minutes on multiple items and 1 minute on general public comment.
Thank you. It's Eric Previn from CD2, and you have a jam-packed agenda today, so I know you're busy. I follow the outside counsel lines, which are, today you've got 17 and 18 both in there, which I guess means that you're topping off the previous year and looking forward. The case that caught my attention had to do with, it's being handled by Albright Yee and also Tharp and Howell, which is a duty meal and rest break case, I guess. And I guess each of these firms got topped off $285,000. It's a big uptick there. I wonder what's going on in that case. And item obviously 2 and 3 are closed session.
I'm sorry, Mr. Previn. I'm so sorry. Hold Mr. Previn's time.
Okay.
Mr. Herman's been disrupting the meeting since he walked in. I do care. It bothers me because I can't concentrate on what's going on. So please have Mr. Herman shown the door, please.
All right, I'll have him removed.
Yeah, I just walked in, bro.
Yeah, you disturbed the meeting from the moment you walked in. Have a good day. Have a good day. You get no warnings. You're gone.
Where's the fucking warning, asshole?
See you later. Have a good day.
Fucking asshole.
Please start Mr. Previn's time over again. Can you show him the door as quickly as we can, please?
You're a fucking cocksucker, like Eric Garcetti, so suck my cock, oh boy. Look at you all red, because you know it's true.
Have a good day. Have a good day. Start Mr. Previn's time over again, please. Go right ahead, Mr. Previn. Sorry for the disturbance, Mr. Previn.
Right. Okay. So you've got a couple of lawsuits that are claims for a vehicle pedestrian situation, which was, I guess, the Nick Phoenix case. And this looks very similar to another case. And I'm wondering if we're starting to see copycat lawsuits or if they're just repetitive lawsuits. Also, I think Brian O'Hare reminds me of the case that was up near Griffith Park as well. A bicycle pitches into an area, $200,000. I think that one was Pascal. All these folks are close to the bicycle organization, so it worries me a little bit. Now, item 6, you've got a very interesting item, sir. It's a conflict. Oh, we've got a real problem out there, don't we? We've got a conflict firm. Well, no, actually what we've got is we've got some news being broken inside the item, which is that Jenkins and Hogan have apparently got together with Best and Krieger and are now bonding. Is that a new piece of information? It's good news, I guess. These are both firms that work for the city in various ways. And here we have BBK, Best and Krieger, their best, but their best twice, are disclosing that they're also representing Aussie Media in a matter with this. But Mr. Fuhrer is not worried at all because he's never worried. But I'm worried. And I'm worried about some of these conflicts, especially with Burke Williams, who were brought in off the CEQA panel to defend Richard Weintraub and the city against Ben Resnick and the New York partners. And now, believe it or not, coming forward hot, it's coming in hot, Mr. Kretz, is an item to tomorrow's city council agenda where it looks like this body is skipping wisely, but the mayor and the council are all going to vote at once to reduce once again the transit occupancy taxes for a guy who has been a scofflaw. He hasn't really paid or taken care of his stuff. So it does upset the public when we can't see what's going on. Item number 9, you've got the $15 million lawsuit up on, I believe it's in O'Farrell's district, the Leopold Vittorio one, and you're moving $5 million from here to there, and I can't keep it straight. So for the general public comment, which I believe is now, or have I exceeded that? You want a little more.
Did you give him his minute for general public comment?
2 minutes.
Oh.
For multiple items.
Okay, so go ahead, Mr. Previn.
So I'll try to be respectful here. The public expects that the laws are enforced kind of favorably and fairly to everybody. but when we arrange special deals for treasured partners who are loose as a goose when it comes to putting contributions and perhaps other ways of stimulating encouragement to lower their tax bills, it sends a very bad message to the folks who are trying every single day to pay the taxes. Now, Richard Weintraub, I'll say it out loud, the guy from Sportsman's, was collecting the tax, but he was keeping it. He wasn't giving it to the city. So Blumenfield, I know you're a cashless man. You like to think about that. Maybe we can come up with a way going forward for transit occupancy taxes where it's not so loosey-goosey and negotiable. Because I really think in this instant matter, we have a case where we're not even suing the guy. He just knows he hasn't paid, so he's proposing what looks to me like a real backdoor kind of arrangement. And I just don't think it's appropriate for Mayor Garcetti or for the public or for the city council. So I appreciate your taking a strong look.
All right, thank you very much. Was there anybody else on general public comment?
No.
Okay, general public comment is closed. Do we have any comment on items? Okay. I would propose, members, consent approval of items 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Actually, items 10 and 11 would be to note and file. And then the other matters would be to approve the recommendations. But
5 through 7 and 9 through 16?
Mr. Chair, we have
Yes.
cards on item number 7, 5
item-
cards.
on item number 7, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, we do. Okay, so we'll go ahead and hold that. Items 5, 6, and again, folks, my recommendation would be to approve the revised draft ordinance on item number 7, and I would have recommended approval of that on consent, but since you're here, we'd love to hear from you anyway. Okay, so 5, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16 I would propose for consent approval, with 10 and 11 being note and file. Is there any objection to any of those, or anybody want to hear any of those? No? Okay, then that will be the action of the committee, and we will go ahead and at your request, Mr. Kretz, we'll go ahead and take up item number 7 first, and then we'll go into our closed session after that. So let's go ahead and take up item number 7.
Item number 7. Item number 7 is a city attorney report and revised draft ordinance amending section 20.95.1, chapter 5.1 of the Los Angeles Administrative Code regarding the responsible banking investment monitoring program.
All right. So we have the draft ordinance before us. We've heard this many times. I don't know that we need to hear a staff report. We do have the ordinance, but we would like to hear first from the members of the public who came to speak about it, and then I think members want to be heard. So let's start with Ruth Landaverde, followed by Beverly Roberts, followed by Patrick Smith, followed by Mark Morris. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Do I just go ahead?
Go
Oh,
right
there-
ahead. Can you start a clock over, Mr.
They
Williams?
did. Okay.
That's 1 minute, please.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, well, my name is Ruth Landaverde. I'm a former bank worker. I have worked in the financial industry for more than 5 years at Bank of America and Wells Fargo. 2 years ago, I came to speak to you as a member of the Committee for Better Banks to shine light on the impact of aggressive and unrealistic sales goals within the banks. After more than 2 years of advocacy for the consumer and worker protection within the RBO, I would like to thank you all for listening to us. I would especially like to thank Councilmember Koretz for helping us initiate this very important effort for accountability and transparency with the financial institutions that do business with the City of Los Angeles. I urge you to vote in favor of the RBO amendment language released by the city attorney. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Beverly Roberts, followed by Patrick Smith, followed by Mark Morris. Ms. Roberts, welcome.
Thank you, and good afternoon. Nice to see you all. You said, my name is Beverly Roberts, and I'm here representing ACE and the Committee for Better Banks. I have come here many times to testify on how the banks target the elderly with constant harassment, pushing loans and credit cards. After more than 2 years of advocacy, I'm finally here to ask you that you approve the RBO amendment and that will incorporate consumer and worker protections. LA consumers and bank workers need the protections included in the RBO amendment, and the disclosures will provide the necessary transparency with the banks. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Patrick Smith, followed by Mark Morris, and that's the final speaker that I have on this matter.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. My name is Patrick Smith. I'm an ACE member and also a member of the Better Banking Committee, or the Committee for Better Banking, rather. I am a consumer and have been a victim of sales goals with Bank of America in testifying that how Bank of America has refused to work with me to modify my loan. The value of my property has increased, and for the last few years, the banks has been pressuring me and my wife to take out a line of credit on my property. I don't want it or need it, yet they continue to harass me and my wife. But I know how the banks work, and that is the way we have, and that is why we have resisted. Banks are using sales goals to target the elderly, students, immigrants, and low-income workers because they are likely to miss a payment, and in the end, the banks profit through fees.
All right. Thank you, sir.
The
No,
RB...
I'm afraid your time's expired, sir, and I have to be fair to everybody. And give,
Okay. I would like,
but thank you very
could
much.
I hand out
Absolutely.
a letter to you?
You bet.
To the committee, please.
Absolutely. And Mark isn't here. Okay. Very good. So go ahead and if you could provide that, Mr. Morris, we'll pass that around to all the members. Okay. Thank you very much. So, members, let me call first on Mr. Kretz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And while I'm still a bit disappointed that we haven't been able to draw a brighter red line between the good actors and the bad actors for the purposes of the city's banking business, I think I join the community advocates in feeling these amendments provide us with tools that are likely to weed out the industry's worst offenders, which is our goal. I wonder if someone from staff could clarify for us and for the public the definition of predatory lender and the ways that we're getting at the question of abusive sales goals under our newly amended ordinance.
Good afternoon, Valentin Dino, Assistant City Attorney. I'm sorry, could you repeat your question, Council Member?
If you could give us the definition of predatory lender and how we're getting at abusive sales goals under this amended ordinance.
Unfortunately, these are basically terms of art, and they do not have very well defined the meaning in the law. And we researched the issues, and predatory is something that we found different definitions in different places, and ultimately that was something that we chose to avoid in order to create confusion.
And so how do we get at abusive sales goals with this ordinance?
Ultimately, the determination whether or not a banking practice, including sales of products and services, was abusive, is a matter of a determination made by a court of law or a governmental agency that is tasked with the role of supervising banks. If such a determination was made by one of these agencies or a court, then it can withstand legal scrutiny later on in any challenge in a court of law. If such a determination was not made, then basically, in the end, we have numerous definitions depending on the point of view of the speaker. So we are limiting ourselves to reasonably clear-cut definitions made by appropriate agencies.
Thank you, and thank you, colleagues, and I ask for an aye vote on this item.
Any further comments, questions, members?
Go.
Mr. Bonenfield?
Just a question, but the ongoing RFP for banking services, how is this going to be applied to that?
I think that's a question that's better left to the Office of Finance because they are handling the actual RFP. But to answer your question, from a legal standpoint, if the RFP has not been, the process has not been completed, once this ordinance is in place, obviously it will apply to any determination. But beyond that, I'll let the Office of Finance comment.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Saul Romo for the Office of Finance, and happy to receive the punt from our city attorney here. We have two options. One, as my esteemed legal counsel was just explaining, the RFP is still under review. The evaluation committee is in the process of scoring the submissions. We can always request an addendum to the RFP and require that the bank submit information that is now a matter of ordinance with the RBO once the ordinance goes through its ministerial process and is adopted. Or secondly, another option is once we have finally made a final determination on the bank or banks with which we will be proposing a contract or will be engaged in a contractual agreement, we make that a matter as a contractual agreement at that time. So it's a matter of how far, we have to balance how far we are in the evaluation process and to see, what's a reasonable period of return for the an addendum on the submission or to deal with it as a matter of a contractual process, which we will have to do anyway because once the ordinance is in place, it will be a matter of a contractual requirement for any service provider in the future.
Great, I answered that, and I wholeheartedly support this.
All right. Any other questions? Is there any objection with moving forward with the matter? All right. If there's none, it'll be the action of the committee to approve the revised draft ordinance. Thank you all very much. All right. That brings us to item number 8. And item 8 is right now just a motion, but is there anybody here on item number 8? Nobody's here? Okay, well then I guess I can reserve my comments for later. I did just want to, I guess, state for the record that it does appear that this, the funding source for the reimbursement in this matter will itself be reimbursed from, the Prop A funds will be reimbursed by future Arts District specific funding. And so I just wanted to make sure, and I'm sure you covered this at length in T committee, but I wanted to make sure that we were clear. Prop A will be made whole. Yes. Okay, and that was Mr. Bonin's understanding as well, so very good. Then I guess there's nothing further really to discuss on this. Mr. Blumenfield?
Do we know how long it takes to be made whole, and does it have an impact on other Prop A projects? I mean,
is anybody here from DOT to talk about this? Mr. Bonin, do you remember offhand?
I don't remember offhand, no. I don't remember what I had for breakfast. So.
I mean, I'm assuming it will be, and my concern is more than academic. We all have various things. I have a proposed Canoga Park Dash in my area, and that relies on these funds. And assuming it's all managed well, it shouldn't affect any other projects. But I guess I'd like to get that assurance at some point. But I don't want to hold this up.
Okay. Maybe we can make it a point before we're set for council then to ensure that we have a better sense of the time frame.
Okay.
Okay. Very good. Then if there's no objection, it will be the action of the committee to approve item number 8. That will bring us then to our closed session items. Am I correct? There was no public comment on items 1 through 4, so public comment on those matters is now closed, and we will proceed to closed session. We'll go in numerical order unless City Attorney wants to recommend preference on anything. Yeah, Mr. Englander.
I was just going to suggest if on the previous matters, if you wanted to reconsider those, you can put me down as a yes.
Oh, okay. Before we go into closed session, thank you. We will go ahead and reconsider.
Just public comment?
Well, we did it on consent.
Right.
We did it on consent. So items 5, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13, 14, 15, 16, you were here for the consent approval, I think? Well, without objection, then, Mr. Englander will be registered as supporting the consent agenda as well.
Okay.
All right. Then that'll take us into closed session, and we'll proceed in numerical order unless City Attorney would like to come up in a different order. I leave it to you. All right. Budget and Finance Committee is back now in open session. There's nothing that we need to report out. Is that right? I don't think so. So, and there are no other items of business before the committee, so we are adjourned.